I'm sitting here in the Midland Hotel in Manchester today, and I've just finished a court hearing. And I decided to do an appeal video today just to make sure that everybody understands what appeal matters require, what sort of processes and what rules and how it works. So let me just give you the basics first of all. The basics are when you've been granted a right of appeal, it will be for one of three reasons. Either it's a human rights claim that has been refused in which you have been granted, or there is a protection claim that has been refused, which means an asylum claim or something like that, or there has been a deprivation of nationality. So these are the main three reasons or the three headings under which appeals can be granted right now. Now, when you have a human rights appeal, of course, protection claims or deprivation of citizenship are very clear in what they are. But when you're talking about a human rights case, you are talking about all the elements that fall together which may not be meeting the immigration rules. And this is where today's hearing comes in. What happened today? The main issue today was in the court hearing, we are talking about the rules not being met. This gentleman that I was representing today has been in the country since 2011, has not had a relationship before or has not had any children before, but he has a very strong relationship with his family, with his cousin and his children. So they all live together, they have been very supportive of each other and they have been looking after each other. So this was a matter where he did not complete 20 years yet. He has not got a child who is 7 years in the UK. There is not half of his life spent in the UK. So when you look at all of those things, there is nothing that he can qualify under the rules, except the final part. The final part was that there will be significant difficulties in him settling back in his home country. And that is where we needed to lead evidence. We needed to talk about every single thing that would be causing an obstacle in his life if he wanted to go back to his country and live there. So that is what the case was today. And where I got very disappointed and where it was very difficult to go through today was because the judge decided to take a very different approach. Right from the word go, the judge simply was, well, he doesn't meet the rules. He doesn't meet this, he doesn't meet that. So what is your case really about? And I said, well, with judge, we have to understand that this is a man who spent 13 years in the UK now. He's got a family that he lives with. There are children that are very close to him. Then he has now started recently a relationship with a British national. That needs to be considered. He has problems with going back home because of his family connections lost. He has been away for a very long time. The family were expecting him to be supporting them because he was in the UK, and that was not happening. So put all those things together. There are grounds in which you can believe that this person will have significant difficulties in settling back in his life, back in his country. So that is how we take it. But the judge was very dismissive of everything else. The judge and the Home Office presenting officer, they seem like they're sitting from the same side, and we are the opposing party, which is obviously not the case. What actually happens is that the judges are completely independent and they are not meant to be siding with anyone. I'm not saying the judge was siding with anyone. I'm just saying that the judge's approach towards the appeal today was very cold, as in only looking at the immigration rules and not looking at anything outside. And part of the crux of my arguments was that when you are talking about a human rights appeal being lodged, there is not going to be the rules being met. That is the whole point of a human rights appeal being lodged, and that is how you need to look at it. So this brings me to the point of preparation and the process and how it works. So anyway, this application was done by a different firm. They came to us when the application was refused. We lodged the appeal, we prepared the appeal bundles, and today was the appeal hearing. Now, I was asking that there is some medical evidence that we need to adduce, which was not available before, and we want to bring in today. And the judge dismissed that request for adjournment as well. So again, it was a very difficult way the full hearing went today. So what I'm getting to now, I want you to understand what the reasons for appealing are, and I've just told you that. Human rights, protection claim being refused, or deprivation of nationality. So if you have one of these three reasons, that is when you're granted an appeal right, an in-country appeal right. So once we have done the application, you are done the lodging the appeal online. It is the My HMCTS system. that is where we lodge our appeals. Once the appeal has been lodged, we have to pay £140 for an oral hearing. I always go for an oral hearing. I don't see the point of going for a paper hearing where you are simply producing documents and asking the judge to make a decision. Then where's my expertise coming in when I go to court and scream and shout and try to get a decision in favor of my client? So what we do is we prepare, we then lodge the appeal, we pay £140 towards the court fee so that we can get an oral hearing. Then we get about preparing the documentation for the appeal, because now we have to prepare an appeal bundle. The appeal bundle means that you are putting all your documents together that you wish to rely on when you go in for an appeal. Those documents will have a witness statement from you, will have skeleton arguments, might have a chronology, might have medical documentation, might have your financial documentation, might have other statements of support from other family members, could have other witness statements of other people who are joining in to give evidence for you. So whatever the nature of the case, accordingly, you will have your appeal bundle prepared. I did an appeal bundle recently where the case was about somebody having spent 20 years in the UK, but they only had documentary evidence for about 14 years. The rest of the time was not covered. So with documentary evidence. So we had to get some witness statements in. We had to get people who would come and actually say in court, this man was with me, or this person was with me on this date at this place, and I can verify that, and you can ask me any questions, and you can believe or disbelieve me by asking me questions and putting me through cross-examination. So when you go through all of that, that is how we are able to sometimes go to court and prove to a judge what has happened, or whether this person has been in the country for this long or not. Again, different cases, medical cases will have medical evidence that you need to rely on. When you talk about financial difficulties or financial issues, then you need to bring those. Every case will have its own set of documents. So when people ask me, okay, in a consultation, what sort of documents I require? I always tell them, please don't try to get everything together in a consultation, because you're not going to get it. I need to understand your case. I need to understand what's happening. I need to understand what sort of documentation is required in your particular case based on your particular refusal. And then that is how we prepare these cases. So we put the appeal bundle together, we submit it to the Home Office. The Home Office put an appeal bundle together, they submit it to the court as well. So not the Home Office, we submit the bundles to the courts. Then there are directions issued for the Home Office to carry out a review. Now, ideally, the idea of a review is they've refused a claim. We have now prepared an appeal bundle and put everything that we wish to rely on as far as the appeal is concerned. Now, the idea is that during the review, the Home Office should go through that bundle and compare it to the refusal points, and then decide whether or not they can allow the applicant to stay. And usually what happens is you'll just have a very simple sort of a very non-obligatory kind of a review carried out, where they say, no, we've carried out our review. We don't believe there is anything that you have addressed. We still believe that this matter should go to court, and we ask for an oral hearing. And that is where the matter is listed for an oral hearing, like the matter was today in Manchester. And then we go to court. My client is there, all the witnesses are there. We've got our preparation done from before, when I've spoken to them, what to expect in court, what kind of questions could be asked, what sort of answers to give, what the law says, what their refusal points are, what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are. And that is how we prepare, and then we go to court. During the appeal hearing, one by one, the witnesses come in. I will ask questions. The Home Office will ask questions. The judge might ask questions. And that is how each and every witness goes through. And then when every witness has finished, then comes the time for submissions, where the Home Office will go first. They will give all the reasons why your appeal should be dismissed, and then it will be my turn, where as your solicitor or as your barrister, I will be representing you and saying what are the reasons why you should be allowed to stay in the UK, or why your appeal should be successful. Now, all of this is the most important, the vital point that I wanted to make here is that your documentation is more than 80% success of your case. So if you have any documentation, if you're not sure about anything, ask your lawyer. If you're not sure about what sort of documentation should be there, discuss it with your lawyer. discuss it with your caseworker, discuss it with whoever is dealing with your appeal matter, so that you can prepare and present your case as best as possible. Because I can be fantastic, I can go to court and I can be an amazing lawyer, but if my bundle is not prepared properly, and if I don't have the right documentation and the right evidence that I need to rely on, there is nothing that I can do in court. And finally, the only thing I wanted to say was, if you want to come to Bukhari Chambers, you will be dealing with us on a day-to-day basis, and we are not as expensive as we are made out to be. So do try us. Thank you very much.